We have an awesome panel today. If you're looking for funding locally, I'm happy to talk to you, but otherwise you need to talk to our panel. So going in reverse order, Anis, if somebody wanted to get money from you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
LinkedIn and Facebook. I think LinkedIn and Facebook, and if you cannot figure that out, I think most probably you should not get money from me. So, first of all, I think if you're a seed round company, I will look at the entrepreneur himself. I mean, if you have a good track record, maybe, let me tell you like what I have invested in. So I invested in a company called Jetlore from Stanford University. And the first thing that did strike me is that they came in and said that, oh, we are a big data company. And I have seen a lot of big data companies. And that next thing, the CEO told me that we are 7 data scientists, all have PhDs from Stanford. And I said, I will invest in you. So it has to be something coming out. I mean, you have to have something unique if you want to get money, right? You really have to stand out somehow. If you tell me that we are like 10 IITians from Bombay and I want money, most probably you are going to get money, right? Because you have put together a great team, and most probably I believe in you that you will be able to figure out a good product out of it, right? If you're trying to get money in the seed round. If you're trying to get money for the Series A round, most probably I want to see some traction. Traction on the financial side or on the user, on the user side. Most probably you have 10 million users already in the platform. You have not monetized it yet. That's fine. I will invest in you. If you're a Series B company, most probably I want to see the financial track record. Definitely, maybe some IPs that you have filed, and some kind of like big relationship. If you tell me that I'm trying to get a relationship with a large corporation, that's not good enough. I want to see a physical contract with one of the large corporations. That will actually drive me to invest in your company, most probably.
So getting hold of us shouldn't be difficult for anyone trying to raise money, for sure. I mean, that's the first thing. But what we really find very interesting in our investor table is Class A team. Absolutely. High growth market, and I think a well-differentiated proposition gets our entrepreneurs through the door.
And what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Email, LinkedIn, Facebook, social media, we're all over the place. So just try us. And I think what we bring to the table is money, of course, but we bring very high quality mentoring, global networks, market access. And I think what we try to do is really create very valuable companies and take them to the next level very quickly. We bring the best in breed mentors and investors and help them grow it in a very structured and yet a fast growth.
Best way to get hold of me or anyone on my team is actually through a warm lead. Just to give you some stats, we see about 1,400 to 1,500 deals a year. And we do about 6 to 8 investments, right? So the pipeline gets very narrow, the conversion rate. So the best leads that we get is actually through somebody that knows you and knows me as well. And they're usually the best way to actually get introduction. It's the same thing if you were to get hired at a company or anywhere else. Sending your resume on the website probably is not going to get to the same conversion than to know an employee that works there. So I think that's the best way, and you can find through LinkedIn, and if I respond, that'll be good. So the other, in terms of investments, we do add value. Most of us VCs do have a big ego, so we do think we add value. But at the edges, I think 95% of the value is added by the entrepreneur. So my goal is to find the best entrepreneur possible, the team, and we can hopefully sharpen the edges at the edge, right? But I'm under no deception to myself that we add value. I think money is what you need from us, and our time, and hopefully we bet the best horse. Because if I bet the wrong horse, it doesn't matter how much time I spend with you; it wouldn't matter, right? So my best bet is at the initial time, and then after that is hopefully, I'll pray and hopefully it'll work.
So as you can tell, the panelists have some very different opinions about what kind of things they're looking for, how to approach them, what will allow them to say yes to you. But one of the things that we talked about in the pre-conference call was what kind of work should the entrepreneur do before they even start fundraising? So we had a pretty lively conversation. I'm going to ask that you keep your answers very short because we do want to get to the Q&A part. But if you had to pick one suggestion, what would you tell an entrepreneur that they needed to do before they started fundraising? So who wants to go first? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I go through pitches all the time, right? And the best ones are the ones that actually tell a good story, right? Think of yourself as a movie producer in Hollywood, and what do you want your audience to sort of hear, right? And you know, selling to me is probably easier than selling to your spouse or your mom, right? So if you've been able to convince the other two, then selling a VC should be easier. So make sure your stories are actually well done. You know, has a beginning, has a middle, has an end, and everything else sort of fits in, right? So spend time, and the story is, you know, is your team, is the market, is the size, is the competition, but you know, not just a template that somebody gave you or you found on the web, but actually really thinking through the story that sort of gels together. So I think, yeah, you want to be wowed.
So I think some of the best business plans we've seen is where the entrepreneur has been able to convince us that there is a customer who's going to buy his product, and he's going to be able to build his business on a revenue line, not just raise money. And I think that is very critical. And the second is that it can go global, because at IAN specifically, we look at companies that can go global, because that's something we are trying to do to create. So those are the two, I think, that get us through the door, get plans through the door.
I'm looking for unique ideas. Like, you'll be surprised that at Fenox, 53 members, we receive about 8,000 deals a year. And maybe 2,000 of those are social networks. Enough of Facebook. I mean, enough of social networks. So we want something unique. I mean, unique as is like nobody else has done it. For example, I was in Indonesia like 2 weeks ago, and that's one of our areas where we invest a lot. And one of the girls actually came up, and she came up with a company called Hijab, which actually does Muslim fashion for hijab, you know, like for veils. And that company is growing exponentially. It's a simple idea. So that's unique, very, very unique, different from you know, whatever else is other people are doing. So come with an unique idea that nobody else have done it, and I think that will give you the edge most probably as you're fundraising.
So we're going to open up for Q&A. We have about 10 minutes left. I think that means we can do 3 questions. So the first 3 people that show up in the center aisle here get to ask a question of the panel.
You haven't asked the question through the mechanism. You did?
Oh, fantastic. Never mind then. Ah.
And other people, please go ahead.
Thank you.
So I'll read it for you.
Okay.
What are the 3 most important people you want to see on a team? Or what is the essential minimum? By that I mean titles or whatever.
Go.
I will definitely want to see more than one co-founder, because if you're the single co-founder, which is the case in most cases, if you run over by a truck, my money is gone. Okay? So I want to see more than one person in the team, and I want the shares distributed among the founders in at least in an equal way. I mean, if you're the first co-founder, I can understand that you have a little bit more share than the other co-founders, but I do not want to see a situation where you own 99% and your co-founder wants 1%. Then it does not help.
Good.
I actually haven't had a co-founder run by a bus yet, but I'm still waiting.
I've had 2 die. Yeah. I had one who was evidently so excited that he was funded, died within 12 hours of receiving our check. Yeah, so stuff happens.
So I guess it's somewhat related. What is, in fact, if there is something that captures your eye in the first 3 minutes of either conversation or reading a business plan, what is it that makes the difference?
So I think the first thing that catches my eye is how engaged is the founder when he is talking about it. I mean, is there passion? Is it missionary in his mind? That's the first thing that needs to catch me.
I would agree. I think passion is probably one of the most contagious things, but then you need to back that up with some quick analysis of your understanding of the market, whether you're solving a pain. In an enterprise space, for example, you often see businesses that are actually more vitamin sales, which is, there's not a pain to be solved, but a nice to have. And for a founder to sort of articulate what he's doing is actually pretty important, right? So tell me the story quickly, keep the team engaged. If one of the GPs is falling asleep, it's a bad sign.
I will actually say that how well you know your competition is also another thing. Most of the founders, many of them actually come in and say that, oh, there is no other competition, but hey, come on. I mean, we have been doing this for a while, and we understand that there are other competitions. So knowing your competition and knowing how you can beat them and how you're going to win over them, I think is very important.
The one thing that the panelists wanted me to make sure that we told you was that not all investors are the same. It's worth your time and energy to spend some time looking at the different options, figuring out what kind of money you need and want, and then who are the investors that provide that type of advice and money in the format that you want it. And then you invite them to come look at your deal. And that for the most part, the probability of success will be much higher. So with that, I want to thank our panelists. You guys were awesome. Thank you for being here. And good luck with your fundraising.